Good morning, everyone. My name is Judge Christy Ruppe, and you're all here this morning for first appearance. The purpose of this hearing is to inform you of the charges against you and determine whether there is probable cause for your arrest. Probable cause only means that it's more likely than not that you've committed the crime in which you've been arrested for. As you stand before me today, you are considered not guilty of what you've been charged with, and that status will remain with you through each stage of these proceedings up until changed by you if you plead out to your case or the state attorney's office if they prove the case against you beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt. In all likelihood, you were arrested on a warrant or a new charge. Either way, you were given a bond pursuant to the bond schedule for the 5th Judicial Circuit. I will determine whether to keep that bond the same, increase it, decrease it, or whether there are any other conditions of pre-trial release which will be imposed upon you. I will also determine this morning whether you'd like to hire a private attorney or whether you'd like someone from the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You are entitled to have an attorney at each stage of these proceedings. If you cannot afford to hire one, I will appoint the Public Defender's Office this morning. You are entitled to make a phone call. If you haven't done so yet, to let friends, family, or your attorney know where you are, please let me know. I'll make sure you get that phone call this morning. Finally, and most importantly, you have the right to remain silent, and I encourage you to do so. These hearings are recorded, and there is an assistant state attorney in this courtroom writing down everything that you say. So anything you say about the facts of your case can and will be used against you in the prosecution of your case down the road. At this time, I'd like everyone to raise your right hand so I can place you under oath. Swear or affirm the testimony before the court this morning will be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Okay, go ahead and put your hands down. As I call your name, please come forward to the podium. Natasha Reynolds. Good morning, Ms. Reynolds. Can I have your date of birth, please?
9/22/82.
All right. You were here this morning for a domestic battery and a resisting an officer with violence. I did find probable cause for both of those. Do you want to represent yourself? Are you going to hire somebody, or do you want the assistance of the Public Defender's Office?
Public defender, please.
Okay. I will go ahead and appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. State, does she have a prior record?
She does, Your Honor. 2003 out of St. Petersburg. Brawling, resisting without, and resisting without. 2008 St. Petersburg, FTA on a Willis. 2009 possession of oxycodone, which is conviction. 2009 sale of oxycodone, not sure what happened with that. 2017 trespass through structure or conveyance, which is a conviction, and dealing in stolen property. Showing a September arrest in St. Petersburg for burglary with assault or battery. Looks like that's still pending. St. Petersburg.
That charge was dropped.
Ms. Reynolds, I have an address for you on Briarwood Lane in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes.
How long have you lived there?
I just moved there this month.
Okay. Is that where Frank Ledbetter lives?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have someplace else you can stay?
I'm sorry?
Do you have someplace else you could stay?
No, my child is there.
Okay. Well, you need to find someplace else to go, okay? You cannot be where Frank Ledbetter lives, and that's at the Briarwood Lane address. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and give you a bond. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to have to go there and get my kid and my things. My things and my kid are there.
Okay. You can go there one time with the assistance of law enforcement, with a law enforcement escort. You'll have a couple minutes to collect your belongings. With regard to your child, that's something I guess you can work out with your mom, right?
No, I have custody of my daughter.
Well, I understand that, but your mom also lives at that address?
Yeah.
And you could talk to your mom about picking up your son?
My daughter?
Or your daughter, yes? And so you don't need to have any contact with Frank Ledbetter to do that, correct?
No.
Okay. I'm going to order that you have no contact with him whatsoever. I'm going to hold you until 4 o'clock today in case he needs to file an injunction against you. I will allow you to that residence one time with a law enforcement escort to pick up your belongings. I'm going to set the bond for the domestic battery at $1,000. I'm going to keep the bond for the resisting at $5,000. If you're unable to bond out, someone from the Public Defender's Office will come out and see you. If you do bond out, you want to make sure to keep in touch with your attorney, okay? We're going to see you back to court on January 2nd at 8:30 in the morning.
Okay, thank you.
Patrick Romero. Mr. Romero, can I have your date of birth, please?
R1767.
Thank you. You're here today for a failure to appear in front of Judge Toner on a perjury charge back on November 20th. He wants no bond on that at this time, so we're going to go ahead and set that at no bond. Did you have the public defender's office representing you already on this case?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Did you have an attorney?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Do you want me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll appoint the public defender's office at this time.
Ma'am,
Yes, sir.
I did willingly turn myself in. I made a mistake. I just missed my court date. I'm not a criminal.
Okay. I understand that, and I appreciate that. And in exchange for that, I'm going to move your court date up. So instead of the January 2nd date, I'm going to move you up to December 18th at 8:30 in the morning, okay? We'll get you in front of Judge Toner as soon as possible so we can figure out what's going on. Okay?
Okay.
Charles Malloy.
I believe we have someone in the courtroom.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Malloy. Can I have your date of birth, please?
5/11/1990.
Okay. Mr. Muller, you were here for a domestic battery charge. I did find probable cause for that. Do you want to represent yourself? Do you want to hire somebody, or do you want the public defender's office?
Public defender.
I'll provisionally appoint the public defender's office to represent you. State does he have a prior record?
He does not, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Muller, I have an address for you on Harbinger Road in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How long have you lived there?
7 years.
Okay. Do you have a job?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of work do you do?
Concrete furniture.
Okay. Do you have someplace else you can go other than the Harbinger Road address?
Yes, ma'am.
You can stay with your parents?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, they are here in the courtroom and they're indicating that you have a place to stay with them, okay? So I need to order that you have no contact with Danielle at this time. So do not call her, do not write her, do not email her. Any way that you can imagine having contact with Danielle, I forbid you from doing so. If you see her out somewhere, you need to turn around and go the other way. If she calls you, you should really hang up the phone, okay?
Okay.
All right, I have to hold you till 4 o'clock today in case Danielle wants to file civil paperwork committing an injunction against you. So we're going to hold you till 4, order no contact. I'm going to go ahead and give you a bond on this, okay? So I'm going to set your bond at $100, and we're going to see you back to court on January 3rd at 9 o'clock. Okay, any questions?
So how do I go about the bond? I've never did this.
You can go down to the jail and they'll walk you through it.
After 4, it would be after 4?
After 4, yes.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you so
all
much.
right. Roger Carr.
Morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Mr. Carr. Can I have your date of birth, please?
8966.
8966, okay. You were here this morning for a DUI causing death and vehicular manslaughter, killing a person with your vehicle. The bonds are currently $10,000 each. I did find probable cause for what you've been arrested for. Do you want to represent yourself? Do you want to hire somebody, or do you want the public defender?
I haven't had a phone call because I don't know my wife's phone number. I have a brain injury, so I don't really have short-term memory. So
Okay.
without my phone, which I turned over at the scene, I have no idea how to get a hold of my wife or anything. So I
Okay.
don't know if she,
Well, that doesn't
I don't know
really
if she's
help me
been-
answer the question. My question was, do you want me to appoint the public defender's office to represent you?
At this time, we're going to have to until I find otherwise.
I'll provisionally appoint the public defender's office. State, I do see that he has a 2006 DUI, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah, I just got a bunch of difference.
All right, tell me about it.
1987 DUI out of Pennsylvania, 1992 DUI out of Pennsylvania, 1999 some sort of a drug conviction out of Pennsylvania, as well as a Willis and another DUI, 2008 theft and receiving stolen property, also out of state. It's times several. 2009 retail theft out of Pennsylvania. That's all I'm showing, Judge.
So is that 2 prior or 3 prior DUIs that you're showing?
I'm not showing dispositions on one of them. Looks like 2 were
2
guilties
convictions.
and 1 without a disposition.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Carr, I have an address for you on Saddle Way in Brooksville. Is that where you live?
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you lived there?
July 4th of last year I moved in.
Okay. Do you have a job?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of work do you do?
Drive tractor trailers.
Great. Okay. I'm going to set your bond at $30,000 each count. We're going to see you back to court on January 2nd at 8:30 in the morning, okay? If you're unable to
ma'am.
bond out, someone from the public defender's office will come out and see you.
Is there any way I could find a way to get in touch with my wife?
You're entitled to make a phone call, and make sure you get that phone call today, okay? Someone at the jail, make sure he gets a phone call.
Yeah, I just don't know what her number is.
Well, they can't get a phone number for you. They can just give you a phone call. Robert King.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. King. Can I have your date of birth, please?
February 11th, 1991.
Okay, you are here this morning for a felony domestic battery by strangulation and a domestic battery. I found probable cause for both of those. Did you want to represent yourself? Do you want to hire somebody, or do you want the public defender's office?
Public defender, please.
I'll provisionally appoint the public defender's office to represent you. States your prior record.
Appears to be a first offense.
All right. Mr. King, I have an address for you on Bayside Court in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you lived there?
About 2.5 years.
Okay, do you have a job?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a full-time mechanic over at Venom Custom Choppers in Newport Richie as a motorcycle mechanic.
Okay. I'm going to set your bond at $2,000 for the felony domestic battery and $100 for the domestic battery. I'm going to order that you have no contact whatsoever with the victim in this case, Danielle. That means do not call her, do not write her, do not email her, do not have contact with her in any way that you can imagine. If you see her out somewhere, you should turn around and go the other way. Even if she calls you, you should hang up the phone. Any way that you can imagine having contact with Danielle, I forbid you from doing so. Does she live at the Bayside Court address?
She does, however, yesterday she went over to Pasco to live with her uncle.
Okay, well, I don't know that at this time. I'm just going by what you're saying. I'm going to order that you have no contact with her. So if she's at that Bayside Court address, you cannot be there. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am. If she is not there, am I allowed to live there?
If she is not there, you can go there at this time unless the injunction says anything different. If you get served with an injunction, I'm going to hold you till 4 o'clock today in case Danielle wants to file a civil injunction against you. If that civil injunction paperwork says that you are to not be within 500 feet of that house, then I suggest you follow the terms of that injunction. We're going to see you back to court on January 2nd at 8:30 in the morning. If you're unable to bond out, someone from the public defender's office will be out to see you, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Is there Jeffrey Tucker there?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Did I get everyone?
We have a Ricky Hicks.
Ricky Hicks.
Oh.
Approach.
Yeah, that'd be great. Okay, Ricky Hicks. Thank you.
Morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. Can I have your date of birth, please?
12/20/59.
All right. Give me a second. All right, you are here today for a domestic battery charge. I did find probable cause for that. Do you want to hire somebody? Do you want to represent yourself, or do you want the public defender's office?
I'll probably represent myself. I think there's some kind of like veteran. I'm a veteran. Sometimes fast, like they're supposed to help me or something. I don't know. Somebody mentioned something about that when I came in, and I was supposed to fill out a paper I never got to fill out.
Okay, well, it's a domestic battery, so there's no bond on that until you see a judge in the morning. That's what we're doing right now. I'm trying to determine the bond. What were you told about the veteran status?
The cop that was telling me about see, where I'm a veteran, that somehow I don't remember how she worked because I was all confused at times. But
Intoxicated. You were intoxicated.
not when I came in. I had to drink drunk.
Right. All right. I have an address for you on Huckleberry Drive in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yeah,
How long have you lived there?
about 6 months.
Okay. Do you have a job?
No, I'm retired and have mental disability.
Okay. Does Brenda Humphrey live at that address?
Yes.
Okay. I need to order that you have no contact with Brenda. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
Do not have any contact with her whatsoever. Do not call her, write her, text her. Do not have anyone else call her, write her, text her. If you see her out somewhere, you should turn around and go the other way. And if she calls you, you should hang up the phone. Any way that you can imagine having contact with Brenda, I forbid you from doing so. I'm going to hold you until 4 o'clock today in case Brenda wants to file an injunction against you. And what's the court date on this? January 3rd? Yes. Okay. And you're going to represent yourself? Did you say you're representing yourself?
Since I don't have no help from a veteran, I guess what you're saying.
Well, I can appoint the public defender's office to represent you, sir.
Yes, okay.
Okay. I'll appoint the public defender's office, and we'll see you back to court January 3rd at 9 a.m.
What was the bond amount, Your Honor?
What was
We're gonna set the bond. Does he have a prior record?
He does, Your Honor. 2007 DUI out of Kentucky. 2011 intoxication in public place, also out of Kentucky. 2015 intoxication in public place. 2016. They just look like traffic violations. That's all I'm showing, Judge.
Okay. We're gonna set the bond at $1,000. Okay. We'll see you back to court January 3rd. Thank you.